So now that we know how to create our terrains, let me show you how to color them with all kinds of textures. Let's first prepare the terrain for coloring. So turn on color and make sure the color mode is set to multiply. Okay, now let's enter the color tool. We should set our palettes with textures of colors that we'll use most often. So click on the color slot, then on the materials menu, select texture. Here you can choose any texture you have on your computer. For me, I will choose this one. Now before we paint, I want to show you the difference between radius, strength, softness, and noise. Scale is also a very important and powerful tool, but I'll demonstrate that one later. With radius, we can decide the size of our brush. Strength is how strong the paint will come through. Notice the difference between low strength and high strength. I will leave the strength high so I can better demonstrate softness. Notice the edges of the circle. They are very crisp with no fading, but when I turn softness to a high setting, the edges will blur. This is a very handy tool to help with blending to create realistic textures on your scenes. Next is noise, which similar to softness creates blur, but noise will create blur throughout the radius, not just only the edges. Now with combination of these tools, we can create really incredible landscapes. So let's get started. I will paint this man-made cobblestone area here, but then I can switch textures, adjust the strength, softness of the texture, then go around the edges to create a very good natural looking blending. Then, I can also adjust the color of this texture to add some tone to this earth texture. Remember I told you about scales? Notice the huge difference in how natural my grass looks as I change the scales and mix the same texture but with different scales to achieve a beautiful blend. At the top of my plateau, I want to use some textures that look man-made, but I don't want to accidentally color the walls, so I will use these constraints at the bottom so that my color only paints the flat surfaces and not the walls. I can do the same thing to color the walls with a rocky texture and use constraints so not to accidentally color the flat surfaces. So this is my final coloring of my terrain. Looks nice. My advice is take some time and use these tricks I showed you today to easily blend together some nice colors and textures to achieve beautiful scenes.